Hey everybody, it's Benita. I've had a long day, and unfortunately I didn't get much sleep last night. So I went to my storage and I organized it, trying to make a walkway. I did a before and after video. I'll share that with you. I'm not done yet, but I'm trying to decide if I want to share it now or just wait till I'm done with the whole project. But today I put together my shelves and I cleared a lot of the stuff out so there could be a walkway. That's what I wanted. I needed a walkway to be there. And it wasn't a walkway there, and too much clutter. I'm turning down the wrong street. Too much clutter just gives me really bad anxiety. So I had to go and clean that or organize my storage. Unfortunately, no one was available to go with me, or I didn't really call anybody and ask, to be honest with you. One of those things where you want something done, you want it done right then and there, and you don't really have to have anybody to help you. I couldn't move the furniture or any of the heavy stuff, but I did move quite a bit. Got a bit done, so I'm done now. First part of my morning was spent at the courthouse, if you remember. I didn't go live or make a video about that or anything because the sheriff came out and sat with us and talked with us and explained everything, and he also advised us to seek legal counsel. He said it looks like a civil matter to him. And I'm thinking the reason why he actually took the time out to talk to us is because we were told that the sheriff department came out and served me. And I was telling them I never got served. I never saw a sheriff department come out here to serve me. The first time I saw a sheriff was when they came to do the eviction, the physical eviction. So the lieutenant walked in when we were talking to the clerk, and he overheard us telling the clerk, asking the clerk for a copy of when they came to serve me. And so she said, well, we went to the filing clerk first. She gave us the paperwork. And so I asked her, what did that mean? What does this mean? Da da da. She said, well, this means they served you. They served a Benita Bradley. And she said, then they tried to serve Laura. I said Laura. Nobody can ever pronounce my baby's name right. And I said, she said, well, she wasn't home, so they gave her paperwork to you to give to her. I said, oh, they did? Oh, okay. Now, some of you are not aware. My daughter that they claimed they served, and they gave me paperwork to give to her, she died March 31st, 2018. Why was she even on my paperwork in the first place? No one knows. He says, well, this is what we got from your leasing office. So the lieutenant takes my papers and he goes in the back. He said, excuse me, can I have that paper from you? So I'm like, sure. So he takes the paper and he came back. He said, well, give me the other papers you have too. He said, I'll be right back. Let me go look at something. So he goes in the back to his office and he comes back and he tells me, oh, we didn't serve you. I said, what do you mean you didn't serve me? She told me to come to the sheriff's office to find out why I didn't get served. She said that serving me was not her concern or her job. And he said, the sheriff lieutenant says, well, I'm telling you, we didn't serve you. So I said, well, who did? So he goes back to his office and he says, well, give me another moment. So I go, okay. So he comes back with this paper and he says, okay, I found out who served you. And I said, who? He said, it's a private company that they use. And he said, here is the company that they use. So he gave me a printout from the company that said that they served us. So apparently the company said that they came out in May, served. They gave me 2 copies. They said they knocked on the door and they said, I'm looking for Benita Bradley. He said somebody told him, oh, I'm her. So he gave whoever was at the door a paper for me. And then he gave another paper to whoever answered the door for Larivia, my deceased daughter. Now, my daughter died in 2018. This just happened last year, 2023. Now, stay with me. So, then he goes, well, he's like, come follow me, come follow me. So we're thinking, oh shoot, what's going on? So he goes in the back, and he takes me and my daughter with him across the hall to where court is in session. Then he said, you ladies have a seat right there. So we sit down. He goes in the back and he comes back with more information. And he said, I made a copy of this. He had 2 pieces of paper. So I asked him, well, what is this? He said, well, this is what you were handed on the day you got served. And I said, oh, okay. And he said it would have front and back, something on the front and something on the back. So he looks through the papers that I got from the clerk. It wasn't in there. He said, well, you don't have this paper. I said, that's what I'm trying to tell you. We never got served. So he printed out copies for us, what they claimed to have served us. And I said, well, what is that? The second page. He said, oh no, this is how they said it was hand delivered to you. It's not really. He said, I should have did front and back like it is officially. He said, but I just hit run copies. So he looks at me and he says, I realize now you're telling the truth because you didn't even know what this was on the back. I said, no. And so apparently they said they served me and then they gave me another copy on behalf of my daughter. So then that explained, because we talked to him about his shares continually looking for my daughter when we kept telling him she was deceased. So now he's sitting down with my daughter and I. He's going through each paper point by point, explaining to us exactly what the leasing office said to him or said to the clerk of the court. I'll be right back. Hold on. Because when he first walked in to my daughter and I standing at the clerk's window to the sheriff department, and he heard the young lady kept saying, well, ma'am, we don't have your paperwork. I said, well, when I asked my leasing agent, why didn't I get served? She told me that's not her job to come down to the sheriff office and get a copy of it or ask you guys why you didn't serve me. And I said, that's what I'm trying to do. So she says, well, I don't have anything here for you. And she says, the only thing I have is when the sheriff came out on January the 18th to physically do the eviction. She says, I don't have anything else for you. So I gave her my case number, I gave her my name. And she said, ma'am, we didn't, this does not come from us. We didn't serve you anything for eviction or anything else. She said the sheriff's office first time making contact with you is when they showed up on the 18th of January this year. So now I'm really like, okay, so first we started at the clerk. She printed out the paperwork. Then she got confused. She said, well, who is Laura? She said, Laura. I said, that's Olivia. That's my daughter. Basically, she said, like, where is she? So my other daughter was standing. She said, ma'am, my sister's deceased. And that always choked me up when I have to explain that to people, that my daughter is deceased. Because that's not something I've gotten over yet. And so it's difficult for me to just arbitrarily have that, conversation with people. So the first clerk, she prints out all the paperwork. She's talking to my daughter and I. Then she says, then she gave me a paper with legal aid help and all of that. So I showed her a text message from the leasing office. And then she said, let me see the paperwork again. So I give her back the paperwork she had just given me. She says, well, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. I said, thank you. So she kept looking over the paperwork. And she said, I said, well, who would have a record of me actually being served, that the sheriff came out and served me, because she told me the sheriff department was the one that came to serve me. She said, okay, go down, a few doors, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But before I left, she says, hold on, you might need legal aid to get involved. So she gives me the paperwork for legal aid. So we go down to the sheriff's office, the sheriff window. It's all in the same, building, court building. We go down there. The young lady couldn't find me in the system. Only thing she had for me was January 18th, 2024, when they actually came out to do the physical eviction. They didn't have anything where they came out to serve me. So at that time, that's when the lieutenant walked in. He goes and he takes the paperwork from me, and he goes do some research. He comes back, tells me they didn't serve me. And I say, well, my leasing office said you did. He goes in the back again. He comes back. He shows me the paperwork. This is who served you. We didn't serve y'all. This is who served you. This is the name of the company, and they're a third-party company that, apartment buildings and sometimes private owners use, whatever. And I said, okay. So then he tells me, he says, well, wait a minute. Something is, so now he's looking confused. So, like I was saying earlier, he takes us out of there, across the hall, have us sit and wait. He comes back with another set of papers to show me what they said they gave me. And so as he's talking to me, I'm like, he said, now you remember this paper? It's front and back, but I made 2 copies. And I said, no, what is that on the back? And when I kept asking him questions, and that's when he realized, he was like, you really don't know what I'm talking about. So he literally sat down and just went over everything with us. Told us how it works when a landlord or whatever bring in a third party. He told us all of that. So after he finished explaining everything to us, he tells us He said, this sounds like a civil case. He said, let me give you the bad news first. He says, might be an uphill battle. He says, but this sounds like a civil case. So he says, so I said, well, the other clerk gave me the number to legal aid. He said, well, that legal aid really kind of help you if you're just doing it for yourself. He said, from what I'm looking at, this is the lieutenant sheriff. He says, from what I'm looking at, you need to seek legal counsel. And so I said, so he said, well, the eviction is done. I said, that's not the problem, you know, because actually we were already packing to move. And I kept trying to ask them, how do I get my 60-day notice? They kept telling me, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, I want to put in my 60-day notice. That's another story for another day. So he's sitting down, he's going over everything. His phone started ringing. He turns his phone off and he keeps talking to my daughter and I. And he basically kind of told us, you know, to contact an attorney, seek legal counsel, because he says from looking at what he said, this is a civil case. So I was like, okay, thank you. We shook hands, and then we also told him about the sheriff that came out. When we told him my daughter was deceased, how he kept looking for her, and then it made sense why he kept looking for her after we told him she was deceased, because of the way they put it on the paperwork. They put the paperwork in saying they served me for me, and then they also served me for my daughter because my daughter wasn't home. That's what the paperwork says. That's what it says. I have it all right here. Y'all, they gave me all these papers. Well, they gave me all of this. They gave me everything. So I said, well, who got served? They literally went over it line by line by line. I'm not going to show it up close because my personal information is on there. But this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. They gave me legal aid. I mean, like, they gave me the judge's thing. I was like, wow. This is a special agent affidavit saying that I was served on 5/19/23. This one is for my daughter, my deceased daughter, served 5/19/23. So he gave me his card, told me if I need anything, you know, contact him. He said my direct number is on there, my personal number is on there, my personal email is on there. He said the best way to reach me sometimes is shoot me an email. He said make sure you put your case number and your name in the memo line so I'll know who it is. And he says, I want to apologize for everything you guys had to go through. And he gave his condolences. And when he explained it, you know, I said, well, I come from a law enforcement family, so I understand. I said, but at that moment, I'm also a mother. And they're telling me he's looking for my daughter, you know. And I said, but now, looking at the paperwork, I see why he was so insistent on looking for her. So, after that, we took our own vehicle. So, after that, I had to call the Georgia Department of Revenue, because when they sent out my title to my vehicle that I paid off, it got returned. So she said I can come down there on Friday and they'll print me out one right then and there. Because that kind of mail is not, you can't forward that kind of mail. So I'm like, okay. So then I went to my storage unit, and I've been there for the last 2-3 hours, putting up shelves and just organizing the unit, because I can't do clutter. I can't do clutter. Clutter is very triggering for me. Very, very triggering. So halfway through me doing the storage thing, a migraine hits me. I'm like, oh my God. But you know, I didn't want to just stop right then, because I had gotten so close to at least finishing part of it. So I finished up the part that I was doing, and I left. Probably I left there like 4 o'clock, and I think I got there. I probably got there a little bit after 12, and I left at 4. So when I left, my head was banging. So good thing I keep my migraine medicine. I keep a few of them in my purse just in case. These are non-drowsy, but they do make you relax, so you get that pain under control. These work in about 2 to 3 hours, so I thank God for Ubrelvy. Now Ubrelvy is very expensive. It's about $4,000 a month for a 30-day supply. So I pulled over and I took one, and I just sat there for about 30 minutes, just because my head was hurting so bad. It was pounding. So then I had to go by the post office, and when I came out of the post office, I just sat in my Jeep another 30 minutes, just giving the medicine time to work, just so I can it could ease up enough for me to drive back to the hotel where we're staying. And so I'm gonna go in. I think I'm gonna I hope I can have what I think Walgreens will deliver. I think I'm gonna order some Epsom salt and just soak for a while, because my body is sore. And child, my head was hurting so bad, it's still hurting. I started taking, you know, it's windy here, so I pinned my wig down, and I started taking these pins out my wig, honey. And I'm like, it would be totally out of character for me to take this wig off and I'm not inside. And so I took all the pins out that I could find, right? So I'm digging in my hair, like looking for pins, because this migraine is pounding, you know, it's pounding. So I'm just looking for everywhere I put a pin, right? So I'm just like, oh my God, there's another one. So I didn't put that many in today. I'm like just taking bobby pins out. I'm just taking them out. Wherever I find one, honey, I was taking it out. So, and I'm still contemplating. So I get enough relief after sitting there for 30 minutes at the post office. I said, okay, I'm gonna try to make it on back to the hotel. So I was taking my time, you know, got my dark shades on from my eye doctor, and then I have blackout tint all the way around and in front also, because of my eyes, and I have migraines, so I get to have my tint as dark as, you know, I want it. So so I kept saying, oh God, it would be such an awful thing if I took this wig off while I'm sitting in my Jeep. And I'm like, I don't see how people just take their wigs off in public and they don't even care about that. And I used to be so anti-wig taking off. But honey, let me tell you something. This migraine is migraining so bad. Oh my God, it's migraining. Do you hear me? It's migraine. Let me tell you how bad my migraine was. My daughter called me on the phone, right? I'm like, hey. She's like, Mama, you don't see me waving at you? I'm like, where are you? She was like, I'm the car in front of you. Well, I saw the car in front of me, and she was blowing and waving her hand up. I said, well, I thought that lady was trying to tell the white guy that he can go in because he looked like he was trying to get in front of her. And I saw the lady waving her hand and blowing her horn. So I'm like, sir, she's trying to tell you can go. And she was like, Mom, that lady was me. I was not talking to that man. I was trying to get your attention. I said, honey, I got a migraine. I'm sorry. You don't even know my car? I do know your car. I said, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize that was you. I have a migraine. So I'm still contemplating. Child, I have taken out every pen. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. I got a hood. Because I'm thinking, I still got to walk into the hotel to get to my room, I'm like, hold up. I got a hoodie. So, child. Whew, let me tell y'all something. Y'all see how my hair is? Oh, when you have a migraine that's migraining, child, all that cute stuff, it goes out the window. And my tent is so dark, you can't see a thing in here. You cannot see in here at all. So this is how I'm gonna walk in to the hotel. And make sure I got it together. Zip the jacket up. What y'all think? All right, so I'm gonna go in here and hopefully Walgreens will deliver me some Epsom salt and stuff so I can take a bath. And after that, I'll probably be in the bed by 6:30. I'll be in the bed for the night. So I just want to come on, share my day with y'all and let y'all know I love you. And thank y'all for praying for me. Thank you all that are supporting me through this journey. It is tough when you've never been through anything like this. I'm not gonna front. But I'm learning a lot, you know. I'm learning a lot. You know, you guys know I have a legal degree, but because I've had so many strokes and so many brain surgeries, there's certain parts of my brain that I have brain damage in. And my recall is not as sharp as it used to be. So, but I will see you guys at another time, and when I get more to share with you. I actually have a lot of videos to upload. I'm kind of behind on uploading my videos to my TikTok, but I'll do it soon. All right, bye-bye.